sing the hymns that bring you closer to our hearts, Lord. And we just ask you to be with each one of us and open up our hearts and our minds and just let everything that you need us to hear. And Lord, I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart will be pleasing to you, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Amen. Our gospel lesson today is known as the Beatitudes. You know, I've always found the Beatitudes difficult to understand. I mean, it's kind of backwards, isn't it? Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." And you know, sometimes I'm poor in spirit, but I don't like it very much. I prefer feeling confident and energized and ready to roll. Jesus says, "Blessed are those who mourn." And you know, I don't want to mourn. Jesus says, "Blessed are the meek." I don't like being meek. A few years back, a coworker of mine named Alan, he challenged me. He didn't think that the Bible made sense, and he used the Beatitudes to prove his point. Jesus said, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." And Alan said that Jesus was wrong. He said that bold people get the good jobs. He said that bold people make the most money. He said that bold people get rich, and bold people inherit the earth. Therefore, he concluded, Jesus was wrong, and the Bible was wrong. And what did I think about that? It just so happened that I'd been studying the Beatitudes around that time, and lo and behold, I actually remembered something. I remembered what I had read about this particular Beatitude. Blessed are the meek. A commentary said that the Greek word translated meek in the New Testament as praus. It said that praus can be used to describe a horse that had been tamed to ride. It concluded that praus is power that has been harnessed for use. A praus horse, a meek horse, could be a war horse. A praus horse, a meek horse, could be used to pull a chariot into battle. That commentary concluded that meek is a bad translation of the word praus. Jesus was not saying, "Blessed are the timid." He was saying, "Blessed are those who have their power under control. Blessed are those who have self-discipline." And when this guy challenged me, I was glad to remember that. I related my praus wisdom and it quieted him down. Even if it didn't convince him, I thought I had done my job pretty well. But something about my explanation, it troubled me. It made too much sense. It was wise as the world counts wisdom. It was the kind of wisdom that you could find in a self-help book that you get at any bookstore. It was saying, I was basically saying, discipline yourself and you'll be truly powerful. It didn't sound much like Jesus did. Is that what Jesus meant? Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. I studied further and learned that Jesus was quoting the 37th Psalm. That psalm called people to trust God, not their own strength. The psalmist said, "Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture." That psalm promises that the wicked will be no more. Though you look for them, they will not be found. But the meek will inherit the land and enjoy peace and prosperity. That psalm promised vindication for those who were faithful to God in the midst of adversity. It promised that their land would be restored, not by their power, but as an inheritance to God. In other words, when Jesus, quoting this psalm, said, "Blessed are the meek," he was not calling people to find ways to channel their inner strength, but instead was calling people to look to God, their true strength. In that psalm, the Hebrew word was anawim. Psalm 37 was saying, "Blessed are the anawim, for they shall inherit the earth." Moses was an example of anawim. Moses was humble. When God called Moses to deliver Israel, Moses didn't think that he could do it. He protested. He protested that Pharaoh wouldn't listen to him. And he protested that he was slow of speech. He protested that Aaron would be a better choice. But when God made it clear that he had chosen Moses, a flame of faith began to burn in Moses' heart. Moses began to trust. Trust not his power, but the power of the one who empowered him. It was at that moment that Moses became on the wing, meek in the biblical sense. And it was at that moment that Moses also became powerful. It was when Moses quit trusting himself and began trusting God that he became a powerhouse. Moses became on the wing, meek, but that doesn't mean that he became timid, does it? Fueled by faith and powered by God, Moses challenged Pharaoh and Pharaoh's armies and the whole superpower of Egypt. Moses faced him down and made them pay. Moses succeeded in the task to which God had called him because Moses quit trusting himself and began trusting God. And that's what it means to be meek in the biblical sense. Jesus was another example. Jesus was meek. He was humble. But you would hardly call Jesus timid. Jesus used a whip to drive the money changers out of the temple. And he didn't hesitate to go up against the scribes and Pharisees, powerful men. He didn't hesitate to go face to face with demons. And he didn't hesitate to touch a man who had leprosy. He didn't flinch when they sentenced him to die on the cross. Jesus was proud, meek, humble. We would not call him timid. Jesus was pros in that he knew he was working by God's power, not by human strength. Jesus was pros in that while he knew the limits of his own strength, he also knew that those limits didn't make any difference to the Father. Jesus knew that he was working by the power of the one who created the heavens and the earth, the one who set the stars in the sky, the one who hung the moon and hung the sun in their places. Jesus was proud, meek, because he subordinated himself to the Father. And it was that subordination, that meekness, that made him a partner with God. It was the combination of the Son's meekness and the Father's power that changed the world. Nothing has been the same, has it, since Jesus came. The Beatitudes are like that. They set worldly wisdom on its head. The Beatitudes give us a glimpse into God's kingdom, where a new set of rules apply. We must be careful, though, not to twist the Beatitudes until they make worldly sense. Instead, we need to learn about the kingdom that Jesus introduces us to in the Beatitudes and the rules that apply there. Jesus said that the kingdom has come near. That was Jesus' way of saying that the kingdom rules are already in effect for kingdom people. We say, blessed are the rich. But Jesus said, blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who come before God with humble spirits, hoping only to be God's people and to do God's work. We say, blessed are those who laugh. But Jesus said, blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are those who grieve at the state of the world in which we live, and who hope by God's power to set the world right again. We say, blessed are the bold, but Jesus says, blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who trust not in their own strength, but in the power of God. If we look carefully, we can see the truth of Jesus' words. Sometimes we see it clearly, but at other times, only dimly. Sometimes we see a man or woman of God whose witness is so powerful that kings and presidents seek their counsel. Sometimes we see a man or woman of God whose work is so effective that it changes the world that we live in. But at other times, we see deeply spiritual people who live and die and seem to disappear with scarcely a ripple. But we must never make the mistake of believing that what we see is all there is. When we see God face to face, we will learn who was great and who was not. On that day, we will learn that many people who considered themselves giants were in fact just really pygmies. And that some who lived very modest lives were the true giants. On that day, we will see that some people who believe themselves to be the movers and shakers of the world were in fact building on sand, erecting structures that quickly turned to dust. On that day, we will see faithful mothers and fathers celebrating for raising godly children. On that day, we will see ordinary people celebrated for their kindness. On that day, we will see God hand out rich inheritance to those who, because they were honoring, or because they were proud, because they were meek, became God's partners in changing the world. In the meantime, Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." This, my friends, is the word of the Lord. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.